Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Lander, you're a fiduciary, which means you legally have to act in the best interests of the city of New York, responsible for the retirement security of over 750,000 public servants who work or have worked for the city. I want to get your take on a developing matter related to shareholder value and shareholder rights. As you may have read, President Trump has secured an over 10% equity stake in Intel, the great American chip maker. As part of this deal, President Trump has promised that the U.S. government's holdings in Intel will be passive. He has promised that the U.S. government will vote with Intel's board and according to Intel's management on all matters. As a fiduciary for 750,000 beneficiaries, if you were to own 10% of any large company, especially one that apparently has management and governance issues that have caused it to lose out to its competitors, would you forego your opportunity to exercise voting rights?
Thank you, Ranking Member Waters. Of course, we would not forego our responsibility, not just our rights, to exercise our voting power if we were 10% of shareholders. And I think what you said at the beginning about the hypocrisy being exposed here, I mean, what could be more a form of crony capitalism than the president deciding, without any clear rules, without any role for Congress, without any guidelines, when the U.S. government is going to take a position in companies, and then say, as you've just said, that management can do whatever they want. There's 90% of the other shareholders in Intel are people like our funds, our small investors, who now have been told the U.S. government is going to take a very large position and just let the management do whatever they want. It will erode independent shareholder governance and accountability that are a foundation of our capital markets, make it hard for funds like ours to invest in with trust and confidence, and it really risks, both the retirement security of small investors and beneficiaries like ours and the broader independence of our capital markets and their accountability to shareholders.
Continuing on, President Trump is supposed to be acting in the best interest of the American people. Is it prudent and financially responsible to blindly go along with Intel's management on, for example, executive compensation or providing corporate perks like apartments, private jets, or year-end bonuses? As you know, these are the kinds of decisions that Intel's board and management are responsible for. What would stop them from rewarding their failures if Intel's largest shareholder is voiceless and voteless?
The whole concept of shareholder governance is that on the board there will be some independent shareholders, independent members who represent independent shareholders in relationship to management. Some interests, of course, are aligned, but not all interests are aligned. So what is appropriate for CEO compensation? How the board itself should be structured, how compensation will be deferred. There are a whole set of areas where you've got to have independent members of the board exercising that responsibility to provide oversight. And if what happens increasingly in American companies is that the president decides to take a large position and then give carte blanche authority to its managers, again, that is what we mean by crony capitalism. On some of these boards, you have the relatives or buddies or former business partners of the CEOs, and what you need is independent members who are looking out for the interests of the much broader, smaller, and more diverse set of shareholders, and the steps the president has taken at Intel jeopardize that independence.
Thank you very much. What I don't get is this. Why is it management with the so-called independence board would think shareholders are not interested in having the best results if they are, responsible for the fiduciary concerns of the board? Why do they believe that somehow they're not in the best interest of earning profits for everybody? You get it?
Yes, look, this is an important debate. There's a room for conversation between management and board members, but shareholders want good returns at the companies that we invest in. All the proposals that we bring are designed to achieve that.
Gentlemen, it's time.